Pruden. I'm the assistant principal at Duboc School. We're a K-8 school in Lincoln Parish. And today I observed Miss Sandlin. She's a kindergarten teacher. Today Miss Sandlin was able to have the students start looking at characters in a book and identifying different character traits. This is a skill that is going to be used continuously throughout their educational career and on. So she began this process by describing themselves and then looking at a character that they are very familiar with in a book that they are very familiar with and beginning to describe that particular character and some character traits about him. Hi Sherry, how are you doing today? Good. I'd like to talk with you today about the classroom observation I did on September 26th. And this is during your literacy block time during the day. And I know at the beginning of the year we talked about making sure that your kids were secure with the routines and the procedures that happened in class and how important that was. And I noticed some really good things going on in your classroom with that. So what are some things that you see that your kids are doing really well with the routines that you have in place?
Well, I think at the early stages in kindergarten, just to even get them to have that independence of having some choices of where to go and, you know, giving them the security in that, to not have, what do I do next? What do I do next?
Right.
That you kind of lay all that groundwork for them and they're able to make some choices during their day. And that they make good choices as far as this is something I need, this is something I don't need, or maybe I don't need as much of this. Those, I have lots of ranges in there. Some students that are kind of beginning readers, some students that have very little letter sound associations, low literacy.
Right.
So there's a variety of activities, and right now the students, I kind of try to pair them up with different skills, a low with a high, and you know, so we can learn something from each other. So I guess that they'll take everything a little more in depth, and I'm going to do this, but I'm going to work on this activity and complete it at the highest level. Okay. Now it's kind of like I'm almost overwhelmed by these choices, and I'm going to go to this station for a little while and go to this one for a little while.
Where they're more comfortable right now, probably.
And not necessarily completing all of those tasks.
Okay, and I saw that whenever you released them to go to their literacy centers, how they gravitated to what they looked very comfortable doing.
Right. And
they stayed there for an extended period of time before they moved anywhere else. So we've talked about two different places in this particular lesson where you could have interjected something that kind of forced the hand of the students who did not or who do not feel comfortable in sharing. What is something coming up? What are some lessons that you have coming up, and where do you think I might see those actions or the action steps in play?
Well, I feel like in that almost always in kindergarten, it seems like students have a harder time with plot, character description, sequence of events, recalling facts and details about a story. So that's going to be their biggest struggle is during that literacy block, because the level can be so broad.
Right.
Whereas math, it seems like it's so much easier to get them to participate or to be an active member of this group. So yeah, I'm going to have to, you can do like chart learning where I'm going to give you something and where does it fit on the chart.
Okay.
You know, where with the bubble map, even like if I had done something like that and what color was he, did he have this, did he have that, look at your card, where does it fit.
Okay. So continuing to use a resource that they are very familiar with.
Right.
And then putting that, so you think you will probably use this in one of your math lessons? Okay, so that each student will have a voice and be able to express, even if it's something that you have produced, they can still participate, and that just kind of gets them used to being an active part.
And then lots of times what helps during those lessons, if you know, I verbally say, this is a time you're going to have to raise your hand, because then I'm wanting to know what you know and are you going to participate. Then there's other times where you're saying, you know, you're going to answer me in an inside voice, but you do not have to raise your hand. lots of times, because I'm going to answer as a part of the group, I'm more comfortable doing that, because if I don't say the right thing, maybe you won't hear me.
Oh, yeah, I see.
So you can switch back and forth like that. They still struggle with that because it feels like I can't go back and forth yet. If I open up that floor to you don't have to raise your hand, then I can't get back to I only want to hear one of you.
Right.
So, and they'll get better at that, and I will too, as far as when is the right time to do that, when is
Okay.
to work better.
All right. Thank you.
I think in today's feedback conversation, what was hard to hear, but I already knew, was having students with just a lack of participation, whether it's they don't quite have the skills yet, I don't have the background information, I'm not comfortable with what I have to say, or I'm just going to rely on those people that really want to say something because I don't really want to say something. It's something I knew, but it was something she really noticed too, that, yeah, you've got this group that really wants to participate and they have a lot of good things to say, and these over here, they may have some good things, but you're not hearing it, and they're not becoming a part of the lesson and sharing their knowledge with you. So that's something I need to work on. And in kindergarten, that's just a work in progress. As far as it's my first time in school, many of our students don't go to pre-K, so it is their first experience at school. So getting comfortable with, you know, I can be a part of the group and whatever I say will be accepted. And later in the year, they'll get better at that and feel comfortable and really want to participate and share what's going on.
In this lesson, some of these strategies that were prescribed to get that student engagement for every student would be where every student receives a card, so they know that they're going to have to, you know, give their opinion or answer a question about whatever's going on. So you can also do shoulder buddies where you do turn and talk. And the way I will know if these are working, for one, the students will be more engaged. I mean, at first they're going to, I will see it in action. I will either see the cards or I will hear her instructions and say turn and talk, but eventually we want this to become within them so that they don't have to be prompted to do this. So as the year progresses, what we should see is kind of an external motivator to get them to engage in the lesson. And eventually she can remove that because they will no longer need that. So I guess as we progress, I will see those actions in place as far as the cards in the hands, or she will tell them turn and talk and then call out your answers. And then towards the end of the year, it will just naturally take place as she does the lesson. And whenever she has the lesson in their group and they're on the carpet, every student will be engaged in the lesson. They will be answering questions, they will be asking each other questions, they will ask Miss Sandlin questions. So it's just a progression through that.